Okay, can you guys hear me?
Hi.
All right, somebody heard me. We may have some technical issues, so be prepared for that. And you guys should be seeing a citrus slide, a field guide to the citrus industry. For those of you teachers and students that just logged on, we're going to give everyone a few more minutes till 3:05. And then the students from Fresno State will go ahead and get going. So right now, nothing, you're not going to hear anything. It's just going to be a screen share for now. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. As a reminder, like we are recording this so that way those students who are missing it for whatever reason or teachers, they can use this later and check it out. So with us today, we have some students from Fresno State who are in a business class. I will let them introduce themselves and what their major is and what year they are at Fresno State, and any other information they're willing to share with you at this time. And then they will go ahead and get going with their presentation. For the presenters, just let me know when you need me to switch the screens so that way we can keep the presentation rolling. And generally students will have questions, but not till the end. Sometimes they'll speak up earlier, but be prepared for questions at the end. All right, so I will give it over to you guys, and thank you for being here today.
Hi, so I can't get my camera to turn on, but hopefully it'll turn on later. So I'm sorry about that. You can't see my face. But as Katie said, yes, we're taking a class. We're 4 ag business majors at Fresno State, and we are all seniors. We are taking a class that required us to do a service learning project. So we picked Central Valley Farms Leadership, which is a very awesome program for you guys. And you have a very awesome teacher, and we are excited to work with her. So we did our presentation on citrus, and it's a little field guide into the citrus industry for you guys. And I'm Fallon.
I'm Gabriel.
I'm Cameron.
And I'm Austin. Nice to meet you guys.
So the commodity, what are we going to be talking about? So we're talking about citrus. This includes oranges, lemons, limes, and grapefruits, in addition to tangerines and pomelos. All these fruits are high in vitamin C and are a good source of folate and potassium. They're often known as sour fruits as well. Here's a little soaring through time, going back in the citrus industry. So in 1769, citrus fruits were introduced in California by the Padres. The first recorded citrus orchard was planted in 1804 at the San Gabriel Mission just east of Los Angeles. The first citrus orchard was planted by William Wolfskill in 1841 in the center of what's now the center of downtown Los Angeles. In the 1870s, the citrus industry began to expand fastly. 90,000 trees in 1875 to 2 million trees in 1885 to 4.5 million trees in 1901. The railroads greatly promoted the citrus industry. So here's a little history lesson. It's concentrated in Southern California countries that include Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and San Diego. In 1879, navel oranges were introduced in California by the USDA. In the 1890s, the lemon and grapefruit industry is developed. Citrus plants are native to subtropical and tropical regions such as Asia, island South Coast Asia, near Oceania, and northern Australia. These fruits are known for their fragrance and, most importantly, their juice, which later in the presentation you'll get a little glimpse of what we've been working on this semester for you guys. And if you don't mind hitting the video, if it'll play.
Are you a dairy producer? Or do you grow grapes, nuts, fruits, or vegetables? We have it all with American Vineyard, Pacific Nut Producer, California Fresh Fruit, California Dairy, and Vegetable West magazines. Subscribe for free now at malcolmmedia.com to stay current on the freshest news in your industry.
Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with California Fresh Fruit Magazine, reporting to you from the annual Grape, Nut, and Tree Fruit Expo held at the Big Fresno Fairgrounds. With nearly 1,000 growers in attendance, one of the key features of the event was the State of the Industry presentations, one of which, Bob Blakely, Vice President of the California Citrus Mutual, gave the current state of the California Citrus Industry Report.
We're seeing new growth going in. A lot of growers pushed out older non-productive varieties. A lot of the lynches went out. We've seen younger trees going in, newer improved varieties, higher densities. I think we'll see the industry come back stronger than it was before, but we're going to be going through 2 years here. We're probably going to see some smaller crops as these acres start coming in. We started harvesting navel oranges this year on October 1st, which is probably the earliest we've ever started. I think it's 4 days earlier than we started last year, and last year was the earliest that we'd ever begun. We just had very good conditions through the summer. Fruit ripened early, sugar content was up. We've had no problems with maturity on navel oranges or mandarins this year. So we're off to a very good start. Our navel crop's estimated to be about 86 million cartons for the state. And we're expecting about 83 million cartons of that to be here in the Central Valley. And included in that 83 million is also our specialty varieties, our carrot cares and our blood oranges and our organics. Organic is a growing segment of our industry, and we're seeing that come up a little bit every year. The mandarin crop also began early this year. They're picking mandarins now. They're starting to, the first of the clementines are probably going to be shipped this week. We're very excited that the China market opened up. It actually opened up today, November 17th. We got the word this morning that those restrictions have been lifted. So we'll be able to export from Tulare County. Probably beginning next week. I was told yesterday that the color is coming on with these cool nights. We're seeing that the flavors continuing to come up. We've got a very good eating piece of fruit for this time in the season. And the shippers are excited about being able to get back into that China market, which will start next week. Korea will be a little bit later. So China's going to be the first market we go into. We're not exporting a lot of mandarins yet, but we are coming into the holiday season, and so that's going to be huge, leading up to Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's a little bit ironic that we compete with ourselves a little bit. We've got navel oranges competing with mandarins, so we've got growers actually competing with themselves if they're growing both. But they're really two different pieces of fruit. So we're seeing people will buy oranges and they'll also buy mandarins. Where we run into a problem is we have a small navel orange. Consumers will buy a mandarin before they'll buy a small orange. So we're pleased to see that our fruit size on the oranges is increasing. We hope to be able to grow the fruit out of that competition. We'll have two distinct markets, and growers of both will be able to have a successful season.
Thanks, Bob. It's great having organizations like the California Citrus Mutual representing our growing industry. Stay current on the California citrus industry by reading California Fresh Fruit Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.
Give me 1 minute to switch it over. Is this the right slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So citrus in California is a big part of California. If you live in the Central Valley, you know, if you have been to Fresno State, we're surrounded by ag. So citrus in California plays a vital role. 90% of California's citrus acreage in location is located in Fresno, Kern, Tulare, Ventura, and Riverside. Today, around 70% of the state's acreage is located in Fresno, Kern, and Tulare counties. Fresh citrus products contribute to California's annual economy. We are one of the largest growers of citrus, and we use a variety of containers and packing materials, which makes us such a successful in the citrus industry. And we also, our citrus is available year round. So plant life. Citrus fruits grow on flowering trees and shrubs. They're characterized by leathery rinds and white pith that encases juicy segments. They are native to Australia, New Guinea, New Caledonia, and possibly South Asia. Nearly a third of all citrus fruits are used to make juice.
All right, so the terms ripe and mature, they often mean different things. A mature fruit is one that has completed its growth phase, and ripening is the changes that occur within the fruit after it is matured at the beginning of decay. These changes usually involve starches converting to sugars, a decrease in acids, softening, and change in the fruit's color. Citrus fruits pass from immaturity to over maturity while still on the tree. Once separated from the tree, they do not increase in sweetness or continue to ripen. The only way the only way change may happen after being picked is that they eventually will start to decay. With oranges, color cannot be used as an indicator of ripeness, and this is because the rinds turn orange long before the oranges are ready to eat. So the only way to know if it's ready to be eaten, it's actually tasting it. So here's it's America's largest citrus producing states, Florida, California, and Arizona. Yeah, thank you. So California churns out more than 3.2 million tons of fruits in an average year. It produces mostly oranges and lemons, which represents about 90% of California's citrus production. The remaining 9% of citrus crop consists of grapefruits, tangerines, and clementines. 3/4 of California's oranges are of the sweet navel variety. Most of those oranges arrive in store as fresh fruits instead of processed products like orange juice. The state earns about 578 million from every year's crop and produces most of the lemons shipped to American states, which is about 87%. Arizona enjoys a warm climate well suited for citrus growth. The state produces the second most lemons in the United States and fills about 18% of American demand. Oranges and grapefruit production ranks fourth behind Florida, California, and Texas. And the state produces about 13% of American tangerines. And the annual crop commands a value of between 39.2 and $92.8 million. So here are some top producers of oranges. Brazil produces 15.62 million metric tons, about 30% of the world's output. 94% of the country's orange production is concentrated in the state of São Paulo, which is located in the south part of Brazil. And the country is also the leading exporter of orange fruits and orange juice. Followed by Brazil goes China with 7.3 million metric tons. Then the European Union with 6.19 million metric tons. United States with 4.66. Egypt with 3 million. Mexico with 2.53. Turkey with 1.7. South Africa with 1.6. And Morocco with 0.81. And then here's it's showing different types of citrus and their growing season. For example, the California navel oranges, their growing seasons from November through June. California Satsuma mandarins, the growing seasons from October to November. California mandarins, the growing seasons from November through the end of May. And each one's going to have a different growing season.
All right. So what are growing needs required for citrus? You got to be in a good location. You got to pick your areas of your garden or your land if you're going to have a farm that receive the most heat and sun per day. They're happy. They're very happy in the sun. The citrus is. Citrus requires well-drained soil, so check the ground to make sure water easily drains through it. Citrus plants don't like wet feet. Cold frost sensitivity varies from variety to variety. With that, kumquats become or being the most cold tolerant to limes that should be protected from freezing temperatures. So it's a big gap for which citrus can endure what. Make sure to cover your lime trees with insulate frost cloth on your farms if you're going to be growing lime. So continued off that slide, you got to have good soil. You need loose, gritty, slightly acidic planting mix, which will work the best for you. Make sure you're watering your plants or your trees. Moderation is key. Don't keep the soil soggy all the time, or that will encourage root rot. But also don't let the soil completely dry out either. You need to keep it fairly moist, but not too wet. For best results, water slowly and thoroughly, and then wait to water until the soil is showing signs of drying, about 2 to 3 inches down from the surface. Fertilizer, just like people, a happy plant is a well-fed plant. If you use fertilizer, you're gonna get a better yield. It's gonna be a better piece of citrus, so you need to use it. So there's a lot of different pests that can, for any type of farm, for any type of fruit or citrus, they're a pest. So aphids are probably the most common in citrus. Citrus leaf miners, you can get snails, mites on citrus, mealybugs, six-spotted mite. There's so many different kinds out there that you kind of got to keep on top of it and make sure that you keep your plants healthy by using the appropriate chemicals that are safe and to keep them away from your orchard and plants. So what kind of diseases can your citrus plants get, or citrus trees? Citrus plants can also develop a deficiency condition called chlorosis, characterized by yellowing leaves highlighted by contrasting leaf veins. The shriveling leaves eventually will fall off, and if the plant loses too many, it'll slowly die. This condition is often caused by an excessively high pH, which prevents the plant from absorbing iron, magnesium, zinc, and other nutrients that are key for you to get a good yield out of your crop. So this condition can be cured by adding an appropriate acidic fertilizer formulated specifically for citrus. Each different crop is different, so if you're going to be using this, you need to make sure you know what the fertilizer is used for. A soil that is too acidic can also cause problems. Citrus prefers a neutral soil, so a pH between 6 and 8. Citrus plants are also very sensitive to excessive salt in the soil. Soil testing may be necessary to properly diagnose nutrient deficient diseases. Where is citrus most grown in California? It's mainly grown here in the San Joaquin Valley from Sacramento all the way down past Fresno. It includes more than half the acres of California's citrus production. This region has summers that are hot and dry and winters that are typically wet and cold. So this is what's ideal for a citrus orchard or a citrus plant to get the best yield out of your crop. So some parent species, regardless of where they're from, all modern citrus descends from 3 parent species. Citron, a super thick layer of bitter, inedible pith surrounding small to non-existent juice sacs. The juice is very sour and the skin is yellowish and smells lemony when the fruit is ripe. Second one would be mandarin, which is a squat, an orange-hued fruit that's relatively easy to peel and revealing a sweeter, juicier core. And then the last one is pomelo, which is a huskier than other species with a uniquely aromatic skin. The pith is thicker than that of a mandarin, but less enveloping than the citrons, and the inferior fruit and or membranes can taste bitter.
All right, take it from here. So we're gonna start off with our lemons. Everybody's had a lemon at some point. They are the sourest of all the citrus. They don't really taste too good if you just want to eat it outright. A lot of people use lemons to go ahead and put into food. They're a lot sweeter, less acidic, and like Cameron talked about earlier, they're more fragrant. So some people even buy lemons to kind of have in the house just as like an air freshener almost. And a variety that kind of bodes well to that are Meyer lemons, which they have a really distinct smell. Really good for that. Next, we're gonna go with limes. So limes, they are sweeter and less acidic than lemons, but there's one major key group that comes into the US market. So anytime you go to the supermarket like Save Mart or something like that, you're gonna be looking at Persian limes. They're popular from Mexico to Vietnam. Almost everybody in the world can look at it and see that it's gonna be a Persian lime. These are really good. I mean, if you go in and you get like a key lime pie, if you want to go to Eddie's Bakery in Fresno, something like this is going to be inside. There's limes, there's lemons, like food that you go and buy that's already made, especially baked like this in it. Next, we have grapefruits. I don't know a whole lot of people that absolutely love grapefruit. It's kind of a hit or a miss. So either you absolutely love it or you've never had one before. So grapefruits, they're kind of a mixture between sweet oranges and lemons. They're kind of like that middle ground. If you guys haven't eaten one, I encourage everybody to cut one open and try it. You might love it, you might not like it, but it's worth a try. They can be bitter towards the beginning. So if you get one in December, it's going to taste a little bit different than you get it in January, February, March. But the inside is really neat to look at. I mean, you guys can see a picture right here. They're a little bit darker than most of your conventional oranges. And throughout the season, you can kind of see the colors changing. So if you get one at the beginning of the season, it's going to be a different color than at the end of the season. And sugar is going to taste different, all that kind of stuff too. But right there, that's a really, really good looking grapefruit that probably came off in around February, March. So it has really good color to it. And oranges. So oranges are the biggest portion of our citrus crop. So in the wintertime, we have something called navel oranges. And everybody's gonna have oranges in front of them today. If you look down at them, they're gonna be navel oranges. And the way that we can tell that those are navels is by the bottom of the fruit. So the bottom of the fruit is going to have something that kind of looks like a belly button. And that's the reason, I mean, that I've heard anyway, that they call them navel oranges. It looks like a belly button on the bottom. But those, like I said, those are through the winter time. Up on top of the slide right here, you'll see Valenges. Those come in summertime. So that'll be anywhere from May to, I mean, all the way into your winter months again. So it'll carry us through summertime. And then clementines and tangerines, all of you guys know those primarily as cuties. So if you go to the store, those are the ones that you can peel and eat really quick. They're really small and portable, so you can take them with you anywhere. They taste really good too. They have a lot of sugar in them, a little bit of acid, but it's really, yeah, tangerines, they're definitely the ultimate peel and eat fruit. They're smaller than most oranges. If you aren't in the citrus industry, you might know them as baby oranges. A lot of people I've heard refer to them as that. So, but yeah, so the larger and firmer the tangerines, they have the any belly button that we talked about at the bottom, more acidic orange flavor, which is really nice. But yeah, so if you live in California, there's also a commodity that we like to call cara caras. Some people call it cara cara, depends on your pronunciations, like tomato, tomato. But yeah, cara caras, amazing piece of fruit. Have a lot of sugar in it. It kind of looks like a navel on the outside. So the fruit that you're looking at today will look exactly like these caracaras, except when you cut down the middle of them, it's not going to come with that color that you see at the bottom of your screen right now. It's going to come with a little bit darker of a coloration. And that, it's just kind of a commodity thing. Just different varieties have different kind of looks to them. I think I saw somebody with a raised hand in the chat.
Yeah. You want to unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can type it in the chat and I can read it. Or it could have been an accident. Sometimes that happens too. I'm trying to see who it was that asked the question, but it disappeared. I think it's Hernan. What's your question? You're muted, so we can't hear you. We'll give him a minute. Oh, here. Oh, it was an accident. Continue.
All right. But yeah, so that's going to go ahead and be that for the orange segment. So now that everybody's kind of been read in on the citrus industry and you guys have seen all the technical stuff, we're going to show you kind of an in the field training of it. So that's going to be the next slide right here.
Hey guys, we're out here today at the Fresno State Citrus Field. Today I'm going to be taking you through exactly what goes into making juice out of our navel. Run over real quick, show you one of the trees. So earlier today, there was a pig. But after that pig, there was a couple left over. Let me show you exactly what goes into our juice. Right here, prime example of what we want. Something like this. It has a little bit of a dip inside of the fruit, something that they won't be able to pack, but this piece doesn't have to go to waste. I'll show you exactly why right now. Come on back. So these oranges right here, this is from our pick today. I'm going to show you the difference of what goes into our juice versus what you see at the grocery store. So check it out real quick. Right here, this is a piece of fruit that you would see in Target, something you might see in Walmart. A really good piece of fruit, not a lot of defects. You can wash all of this off and it's going to look beautiful. But something like what we picked on the tree over there, something like this, has a little bit of defects. Some of you might want to throw it away because it doesn't look perfect, but check this out. When you cut that piece open, it's beautiful on the inside. There's nothing wrong with it. It actually looks exactly the same as that piece that you would see at the grocery store. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this back to the lab. And I'm going to show you exactly how to juice this up. It's going to be delicious. Hey guys, so we made it back to the lab. We have our oranges right here. If you look right over here to the right-hand side, we have our juicer. What we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to wash these things up. We're going to cut them, put them into our tray. I'll meet you guys right back. All right, guys, now that we have everything washed up, we're going to bring it on over. And for your guys' experiment, you're going to want to do the same thing. When we cut the orange, we're not going to want to cut from the top right here. Instead, lay it on its side right there. We're going to cut sideways. Always make sure that the orange is on a hard surface. And we're going straight through it, guys. It's going to look something like that. Once we get these halves, we're going to come over here and we're going to put it in the press tray. We're going to put them face down like that. And by the time everything's over, we're going to have this thing filled up. All right, guys. Last one is going in here. Nice and snug right there in the corner. We're going to go ahead. We're going to put this in the juicer. For you guys, you're going to use the hand juicers that we're giving you for the experiment. Put this right in. Make sure it clicks tight. We're going to start it up. Now, if you want to come down here really quick, what's going to happen is it's going to get juiced right here. This is our strainer. And then all the orange juice is going to be going down here in this pot. I'm going to pull it down. Let's check it out. this out. This is going to be our finished product. Let's take it over here. So if you guys ever go to the grocery store, you have two options when you buy orange juice. You have orange juice with pulp and orange juice without pulp. And this right here is the filter. So all the pulp is stuck in here. If you like it with pulp, you can go ahead and throw this in.
Is there another slide, Austin?
Hey guys.
So that should have been the end of it.
Okay, just checking. So those of you at home, you had the oranges, so you have the opportunity that you can cut them like Austin showed you and juice them yourself into the cup that was provided as well. And I put an orange juice in your kit as well, just so you can compare the differences. Should they add anything to their oranges, like after they've juiced them? Like, is it going to be sour? Like, do you have any suggestions for them?
If you want it to be authentic orange juice, I would say don't add anything to it. It should be okay to go. You're late in the season, so the sweetness should be there. But if you guys do like sugar, which I'm sure a lot of you guys do, I would maybe add some sweet and low to it or something like that.
Okay. Do you students have any questions for any of the Fresno State people we have here, whether it's about the presentation itself and the orange and the citrus industry, or just about their experience at Fresno State? They can share a little bit about that as well. I don't think any of you shared what year you were. So if you want to share that with them, that would be great.
All of us are seniors.
Okay.
So 4th year.
Yes, we will all graduate.
How has school been different from previously before COVID and now? Like, are you guys virtual at Fresno State? Are you half and half? Tell us a little bit about that.
We're fully virtual. There was lab classes, I think, at the beginning of the semester, but yeah, so we're fully virtual. It's been a really hard adjustment, honestly, especially like as a senior. As I don't know if these kids in here are seniors, but I feel like you probably think you're missing out on your senior year also. But yeah, it's been an experience, but it's a learning experience, and it teaches you, honestly, I think, how to be a better student, how to be more self-motivated, how to keep track so you don't get behind, because honestly, it's easy to get behind if you don't write it in your calendar, if you don't, keep track, because you don't go to class every day. So it doesn't feel like you're really going to school, but you are. So I think, if anything, it's taught me how to be more organized, how to be a better student overall, I think. So that's my.
Thanks for that. Anyone else have anything to add?
So for everybody in here right now, are you guys happy as well?
You cut out. Well, on my end, you cut out a little bit, so I didn't hear the whole question.
Sorry about that. Is there half online, half in school, or are you guys all the way back in school now?
I think it's going to depend on the school. We have, well, looks like some people are responding in the chat. They're fully back in school. Like the Madera Liberty kids are back in school. Some are half and half, because we have kids from La Grande, Firebaugh, Madera, Fresno area. And there's even some Hanford kids in here as well. So everyone's a little bit different. And then hopefully next year we can do this kind of thing actually back in person, because normally this would all be in person. And we would be going to like Fresno State to like see this in person. So we're trying to make the best of it.
Hopefully next year you guys can come and see this in person. It's really fun.
Students, do you guys have any questions for them? Like, this is a great opportunity. This is your last field day as well. So if you have anything you would like to ask about their presentation or them themselves, now is your opportunity to do so. Usually they're pretty shy about it. Somebody in the chat asked, is it a hard thing to study?
So I'm going to jump in on this. It is hard to study. It's hard to study sometimes when you have other commitments. Like if you want to go out with your friends, obviously you guys all have friends being in school. It's kind of hard to juggle all that. But when you get into college, it's one of those things that you've had enough experience studying, so you know your limits. You know how much time you can spend on everything. And it's not really hard to study. It's just hard to kind of juggle your time correctly. So, but it's a lot of fun when you get a really good grade on your test and everybody's like, who got that 95%? You raise your hand, you're like, I'm that person. So it's worth it at the end.
Thanks. There's another one who asked how you knew you wanted to go into agriculture.
I mean, I know I was kind of raised around it, so it's just kind of always been part of what I do on a day-to-day basis. So I don't know. It was kind of easy decision for me, but I can't really speak if you grew up outside of it. It's kind of a niche thing to get into, but I don't know. I like it, so that's kind of what I chose.
Thanks. Anyone else have anything to add to that?
I was in the city. I wasn't actually a farmer by any means. My grandpa was in farming growing up. But I realized that being around the farming community, right as I got out of high school, farmers are good people. They're going to shoot you straight. You get what you get with them, and there's no surprises. Farming is one of those things. It's truly a niche, but at the end of the day, you can go to bed and you know that you did your best job. So you sleep really good at night.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other questions out there? Is anyone considering going to Fresno State? Most of these kids are non-seniors. There's one group that's a senior, that are all seniors down in Hanford, but the rest of them are freshmen, sophomore, juniors for the most part. And they don't like to speak to me, so don't feel bad. It's like this in our leadership sessions too. Okay, I will give you guys this last 30 seconds to ask any other last minute questions. In the meantime, I will just kind of wrap things up, and if I see any questions pop up, I will stop. But I just want to say thank you guys. Like, I know this is a project for your school assignment, so we're also helping you out, but at the same time, you've provided some input about the citrus industry, which we don't always know everything about. And the presentation was great. The video was great. I didn't even know Fresno State had like a juicing lab or anything, and I went there at one point in my life. So there we go, surprise. So I just want to say thanks for taking time out of your day. I know that you're all busy with class schedules and work. I really appreciate it. And it looks like someone said great orange juice. They need more. So yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And I will let you guys all go and get back to your lives. I will send you the recording if you needed it for your class at Fresno State. It'll be up on our YouTube. It usually takes our office about a week to put it up, sometimes sooner. So you can take a look out for that. And then if you need me to sign any paperwork, just send it over to me. And as far as the rest of the students, I will see you guys for your interviews, your mock interviews. Just check the schedule. If you haven't sent me your resume, make sure you do so, so I can get you in a time slot. Oh, somebody wants to know apple or orange juice, which is better? I mean, I think it's a preference.
Orange juice, 100%.
Lots of vitamin C.
I mean,
All right.
we just gave a presentation on orange juice, so I hope everybody picks orange juice.
Right? I like orange juice.
We showed you how to make it. We didn't show you how to make apple juice.
All right. Well, you guys are all free to go. I will stick around for a few minutes if anyone has any last minute questions for me. And everyone have a great week. It's Monday. Hopefully it started out well and be successful. See you guys.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely.